Hi there, I'm Dr. Chris Brown and I'm here at the Port Macquarie Koala Hospital. Now, on this World Environment Day, I want to introduce you to some of the cutest koalas you have ever seen, including this shy little guy here, Nabiak Austin. Now, he was injured during the recent bushfires, but today, this is the exciting part. We are going to send him home. That's right, you're going to help me release him. Right now, the volunteers are getting some leaf ready for our friends, and in a minute, we're going to go into the yard and help to feed them. But first, I want to take you behind the scenes at the Port Macquarie Koala Hospital. Hey there, Gabby.
Hi, Chris.
How you going?
I'm well. How are you?
You're busy.
I am busy.
You're always busy, though,
always
aren't you?
busy in this place. Always busy. We're getting some formula ready for our koalas this morning.
I thought you might be.
Yep. So
this is, you're using Divedalac.
Divedalac,
I
yes.
recognise that from the vet practice.
Yep.
So we use it on wildlife as a bit of extra feeding, especially for young animals.
That's right.
What do you use it for here?
Well, we use it for hydration for the animals. So basically bushfire animals that have come in that are very, very dehydrated.
So I guess the crucial thing is they're trying to recover and they're trying to heal and they're trying to rebuild their bodies that have been injured.
That's right.
The protein in this is crucial.
The nutrition, yeah, it is liquid gold for koalas.
In terms of tough times, it doesn't get much tougher than the bushfires. How many tins of this were you going through?
I've lost count. We didn't even go for tins. We went through about sacks, about 25-litre bags of it. So I've lost count.
Now, you're a bit of a koala master chef. Would you mind if I sampled your product?
Not a problem. I have got a clean syringe. Would you like me to feed you like a koala?
Please do.
Okay, all right. So we've mixed everything up, all right.
This is the full experience, isn't it? I mean, you're really going behind the scenes now.
All right, then. Now, you don't mind if I come up close?
No, I won't bite.
Okay.
It's fine.
So we'll just go for the side of the mouth. Okay, ready? How's that?
Wow. Look, no offence. I wouldn't have a whole cup of it.
No, I wouldn't either.
It tastes just right.
Does it?
It does.
Yeah. Nice and warm?
Tastes how it should taste.
Excellent.
Now, Gabby, we are on a school excursion here, a virtual school excursion. And so naturally, we have questions. And the first question is actually from Nadika and Sammy.
Hey, Dr. Chris, how many koalas were in the hospital when the bush was on fire?
Now, Gabby, I think you'll know the answer to this one. What do you think? How many homes were lost for koalas?
Wow, that's a great question. Difficult one to answer because there's a lot of habitat that got burnt. I reckon there was thousands and thousands of trees that went.
Yeah.
And out of those 1,000 trees, 600 koalas would have gone, maybe even more.
In this area?
In this area alone, yes.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Too many.
Yeah.
Too many have lost their homes, and it's going to take so long for the regeneration for these koalas, for the growth of the trees and for the koalas to come back, if they come back.
Yeah. We do actually have another question here from Alona.
Dr. Chris, how do you know everything about koalas?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I know everything about koalas. I learn about koalas at university, and since I've been a vet, I've obviously learned on the job and coming to places like this.
When you're interested in something and you love the animal, you're a sponge and you will learn everything about it.
You're very good with these school excursion questions. You've obviously done this before, Gabby.
I haven't been on a school excursion for a long time.
No. You're on one right now.
I am. It's taken such a long time. I love it. I want to go back to school. You learn so much there too. Yeah, so it's great. Yeah, love it.
Gabby, I know a good formula when I see it, and that looks just about perfect.
Stirred just right.
I know someone is hungry out there.
Oh, Lismore Rose is waiting for you.
I know.
So
I'll take that from you.
just hand this to you. Yep.
Thank
you.
you.
There you go.
All right, I'm going to head out now.
And enjoy.
Thank you. I'm going to head out now and feed little Lismore Rose. But before we do that, here's a little reminder of how so many koalas ended up here in the first place. Port Macquarie, just north of Sydney, is a beautiful coastal destination. It's also home to one of Australia's biggest koala populations and a critical koala breeding ground. These cute-looking marsupials just love it here.
But when the bushfires began in July 2019, everything changed. The koala habitat, already bone dry from the drought, stood no chance against the ferocious blaze, which destroyed around 70% of the koala breeding population. Sadly, we lost about 600 koalas in this area alone. It was a summer the team at Port Macquarie Koala Hospital will never forget. Working tirelessly to rescue and help save as many koalas as they could. And while hundreds didn't make it, there were many that did, thanks to kindness and dedication from the volunteers and the small number of staff.
The koalas in New South Wales were hit really badly as a result of the bushfires. We were working 7 days a week. All up, we had 79 koalas we were caring for.
The focus now is on how we can make sure our precious koalas have enough land and trees to thrive and survive. If we don't, our koalas could be extinct within our own lifetime. And that's something none of us want.
Someone knows when it's feeding time, don't they?
She gets interested.
You've been a volunteer here for 10 years.
10 years now. Yeah.
How was that time when those fires were in
That
the
for
area?
us was, I've been part of bushfire rescues before, but this for us was, as I said, it was Armageddon. Because the sky all around Port Macquarie was glowing.
Yeah.
There was smoke everywhere.
And one of the little orphans you were helping out at that time was Rose here, wasn't
It
it?
was little Rose. Oh, she came to us from north of the state, up at Lismore.
Yeah.
And she was found abandoned. What happened to her mother is unknown.
It certainly looks like she enjoys the care that you give her.
She has, and this is indicative of the care she received when she was so very, very young. Her attachment to humans is obvious, you can see. It's a response. So Christy wanted to take over there if we wish.
There we go. Look at your little face. And you must fight this urge every single day that they are so cuddly, they're so adorable. You want to reach out and give them a big hug.
Exactly.
But obviously for their own benefit, that shouldn't happen.
And it shouldn't happen. And this is where all part of our care is the preparation for their eventual release into the wild.
Yeah.
So the kindest thing we can do is take them back to their wild state.
Yeah.
Not get them so tame.
So obviously she's getting a formula here. This is like a Divedalac formula.
It is.
But she's trying to become a grown-up now.
She's
and so
trying
she
to-
is eating some eucalyptus as well.
She's eating eucalyptus, and she gets it fresh every morning.
But they're quite picky, aren't they, in terms of the eucalyptus they will eat? They won't just find a eucalyptus tree and eat it. They need a particular stage of the growth and often a certain species, don't they?
That is so, because while people see eucalypt growing everywhere in the east coast of Australia, they think the koala will never go hungry. But of the 900 known species of eucalyptus, only about 100, 130 are actually known food trees.
Yeah.
And they are central to the habitat of the koala.
Yeah, amazing. You know what? That little face can get away with anything.
Yes. I usually say to people, she's a thief. She's stolen my heart. And she won't give it back.
I know. I don't think she's ever going to give it back.
You can see why. She is just the most adorable little one. But what I love about it is this element of trust between the animal and the carer.
Yeah.
And I have moments when I'm feeding her where I just make eye contact and I get completely immersed in the moment. And I said, I just love what I do.
Yeah. Your connection is quite incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's actually a physical connection right now with those claws reaching out.
Yes.
Now, we do actually have a couple of questions here. The first one is from Ivy.
Hi, Dr. Chris. How do koalas take baths? How do they clean themselves?
Well, I know a bath is very important for us each day. What about koalas?
Koalas generally don't bathe. While they're adequate swimmers, they tend to avoid water. And essentially their way of keeping clean is grooming.
Now, we do have another question.
Dr. Chris, what are the koalas scared of and how do they play?
Okay. Well, Mick, this might be one for you.
Okay. Now, this is fairly typical of what she can do. Let's see if we can.
What are koalas scared of?
It's an interesting thing with koalas. They're scared of sudden noises. Obviously, they're scared of, I suppose, bushfires naturally, of course, but their instinct is to climb when there are fires.
And not all koalas are like Rose here. Most koalas are scared of people, of dogs, of cars, of all that scary stuff. And with good reason too, because sometimes coming across a car or a dog isn't a pleasant thing.
It creates the greatest fear in them and the greatest harm, of course, as well.
At the height of the fires, the hospital was being overrun with patients that needed extra special care. This is on top of the fact that so many animals were already struggling to find food in amongst one of the worst droughts ever. But one koala caught everyone's attention, and his name is Baz, and he's right here. Now, he was rescued by a firefighter in the Lake Innes region. He was in terrible shape, but one lady brought him back from the brink, and we call her the Koala Nana.
Meet Barb.
Just about finished, aren't we?
She's 81 years young and has been a volunteer at the Port Macquarie Koala Hospital for over 20 years.
I just love them. I just do what I do because I just love koalas. I don't know why anybody wouldn't love them.
And this is her latest rescue.
The little Joey I've got at the moment is Koala Justine. She fell out of a tree and broke her leg, so I will keep her here until she gets a big enough weight before I take her back to the koala hospital.
Barb has been caring for injured koalas in her home for as long as she can remember. This bushfire season was the worst she's ever seen.
Sky was just red. We were getting ash falling over here from the hospital. The closest fire was about 6 kilometres away from where we are.
When a koala named Baz was brought to the Port Macquarie Koala Hospital, he was in really bad shape.
Well, he came in, he was only very, very tiny, and actually it was the firefighters that found him.
Once assessed and treated, Barb was asked to take him home and nurse him back to health.
With a lot of care and round-the-clock attention he had for a while, making sure he got enough fluids into him and enough leaf, proper leaf to eat. He picked up really well, and he sort of got a little bit spoilt like that.
And if you thought Bluey was the only animal celebrity, think again. Baz here featured on the world-famous Time magazine's Instagram page, receiving thousands of likes. While he's made a remarkable recovery, the damage to his claws from the burns means Baz is now a full-time resident at the hospital. He receives 5-star treatment every day and still holds a very special place in his heart for Barb.
Baz is a very gentle personality, Baz is. He's just, just very gentle.
Watching you, you smile when you look at him. Do you realise you do that? No. You do. Well, I
love him.
Yeah, I can see that. It's so beautiful, though. You must see so many koalas through the hospital, but what was it about Baz that really took your heart?
Well, he was just so burnt when he came in. He was just so burnt, and his nose, his ears, all over him, and his paws. You just had to feel sorry for him. He was just a poor little sick fella.
But that bond that you guys have, that was invaluable with his treatment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because normally they need anaesthetics and they need a lot of ongoing care, which can be stressful for them. But in many respects, he was able to lean on you for comfort and trust there.
Yeah, he had to trust me because his paws were all bandaged up. He couldn't grab hold of his leaf. So when I had him at home, he was in a basket. So I used to just break the leaf off and stand there and feed him leaf by leaf. So, he had to rely on me to sort of get his nourishment.
Yeah.
But because of the claw damage he's got, it's unlikely he'll be released. So he could be part of our breeding program in the future, which will be good for him.
Is he ready to be a father? I mean, you know him better than anyone else.
I'd say so.
You think so? Now, Barb, we've had a lot of questions, and some of which you're very much qualified to answer. The first question is from Charlie.
Hi, Dr. Chris. I absolutely love koalas. How can I become a koala helper and bring one home?
So to become a koala helper, you have to work here at the Koala Hospital, and you have to be over 15, I think it is, before you can work here.
Are you over 15?
Just.
Just, yeah.
Last birthday.
Okay, got it. Lucky. And is it a lot of work?
To work it, to take them home like I do, it's not too bad. It is sometimes it's a 24-hour round-the-clock thing, depending on the age that you take them home. Yeah. But you have to work here for a few years before you can do that. And yes, but I only take them home when they're sick and need care. Then I bring them back. You can't take them home as a pet.
Yeah, right. Good answer. Now, just along from Baz is a koala named Lina Paul. Now, Paul was actually rescued just before Baz, and so many of you left questions on my Facebook page wanting to know how he's going. Now, before I give you all the details, here's a little reminder of the remarkable journey that Paul has had.
The bushfire at Crestwood Lake Innes Nature Reserve was fast and furious. The first successful koala rescue in that area was a young koala named Paul, after his rescuer. The poor guy was severely dehydrated and had suffered burns to his hands and feet. You see, the only way for a koala to escape is down. And when a tree is on fire, the heat quickly burns their paws. Over 90% of Paul's fur was singed. His back two legs and paws were also really badly burnt.
Poor Paul had to have ointment applied and towels where he sits every day just to make life more comfortable for him.
Everyone watched him closely, not knowing if he would survive. But Paul was a fighter. Slowly but surely, he began showing signs of recovery. Then back in December, he was moved out of the intensive care unit and into the rehabilitation yards outside. And that's where we find him today.
That sort of recovery just makes the job very worthwhile.
Wow, what a remarkable story. Now, I'm here with the clinical director from the Koala Hospital, Shane Flanagan. Shane, how is Paul doing now?
Paul's doing really well, considering what he was like when he first came in.
What was that like, to be greeted by that little face?
Well, his face was black when he first came in. As you can see, he's lost most of his ears. He was just a little black burnt ball.
And he was quite significant at the time because he was the very first koala that was brought in at the very start of the fires.
Highly likely that he was the very first koala to be burnt in the fires in Australia.
Wow.
That's how long ago it was.
And he became, I guess, a symbol of what was to come.
The footage of him that when he was found on the fireground went viral, went all over the world, and he was a symbol of what was in front of us.
Oh, buddy. Hang on, mate. Just hang on.
Obviously, everyone's so saddened when they hear that koalas have been lost in bushfires. Why is this particular population so important?
Well, he comes from a population of koalas that are so genetically diverse, they are of national significance. This means that these are animals that are really good for breeding and adapting to change. And we've basically wiped out most of them.
How many do you think you lost?
Probably 600 in this population alone. And you add to that potentially, 7,000 or 8,000 across New South Wales, which includes drought as well.
So the way back from here, what does it look like? What's the key now?
Well, one of our main goals now is to try and breed with what animals we have left and try to repopulate the populations. And that's what's going to happen to him. He's got a bit of a good future in front of him, we hope.
Yeah, so he'll become part of the breeding program?
We hope so. We hope, he does.
What do you think the future looks like for koalas?
Unless we deal with our changing climate and unless we change the way we live, we're going to witness this again and again. We have to change what we do. Koalas can't cope with high temperatures and continual long dry conditions. So we have to change the way we live.
Shane, we actually have quite a few questions from the students who've been watching. The first one is from Lorena.
Hi, Dr. Chris. During the bushfires, my mum helped raise money through her business to help the koalas. What things did the hospital buy for the koalas? What do they need?
That's a very good question. And the money went here. It went to the care of the koalas during the fires, all their treatment, which was quite expensive. And then, of course, it goes into research, it goes into conservation, where we buy land, we plant trees, and all the other things associated with care of koalas long term.
Now, the next question is actually from Rex.
Hi, Dr. Chris. I was so sad to hear about the koalas losing their habitats in the bushfires. And I know it's World Environment Day, so I was wondering, what can us kids do to help?
That's another great question. What kids can do is get involved in tree planting, conservation, you know, sort of make sure that the trees that are left stay, don't chop them down. You know, do fundraising, raise money that can go into conservation work. Talk to your local members of parliament. And eventually, when you're old enough, get involved in science and have a future in the science field so you can work in conservation yourself.
Now, today is World Environment Day, and I guess the big question is, what does it all mean and what can you do to help?
During the bushfires, we lost over 1 billion animals. Now that is a really big number. And sadly, thousands of those were from our already declining and vulnerable koala population. With changes to our climate, koalas were already struggling with record-breaking heat and drought. In fact, the Australian government confirmed that 2019 was the hottest and driest year ever on record. So our planet is sending us a message. It's time to take notice and take action to help our environment and our dwindling koala population. So here are some practical ways we can all help. By planting more trees. By not polluting our environment. By using less water. By turning off our appliances like lights so we save energy. By recycling so we don't need to cut down more trees. And of course, your help is always needed to support the amazing work of all the volunteers at Port Macquarie Koala Hospital, where you can go online and adopt your very own koala.
Hi there. Now, if you've just joined us, we are at the Port Macquarie Koala Hospital, catching up on how all those koalas that were burnt during the bushfires are doing. And very soon, you're going to be front row for the release of a very, very special koala, Nabiak Austin. But before that, we have a question from Ariella in Sydney.
Hi, Dr. Chris. Can you please tell me how Owen is doing? Because I adopted him during the fires.
First of all, biggest news of all, Anwen is actually a female. That's exciting. But Shane, tell us how Anwen's going now.
Anwen is now back out in the wild.
Amazing.
Along with 25 other koalas from the fireground.
Great.
And she actually went back to the tree she was captured from.
Really?
Yeah, and had good foliage return, so yeah, it was great.
I'm loving these questions, Shane. I have a feeling Miles might be trying to trip you up with his next question, though. Have a listen to this.
Dr. Chris, how do the koalas speak?
Koalas, they really do speak. They can speak in their body language, but they also can make pretty strong vocal sounds. And a male koala can sound like a cross between a pig and a motorbike.
Now, I've heard it before, so I don't need to hear it, but, I mean, do you do impressions?
No, I don't.
You don't? But it's quite booming, isn't it?
It can go up to 5 kilometres.
Yeah.
It's pretty loud. And a female she can cut too, don't you worry.
Well, we're talking about males and females. There's another great question.
Hey, Dr. Chris, how can people tell which is a female and male koala?
So, Shane?
You can answer that one.
How do you tell a male from a female?
Well, they're really no different from anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the males have male parts and females have female parts. But one quick way, the males have a scent gland and there's a brown stain in the middle of their chest. So that's a quick way to tell.
So if they look like they've got a little, like they've spilt their dinner on their chest?
Yes.
That's a male.
Yeah. And another very important way is when we ear tag our koalas, we ear tag the males in the left ear and the females in the right ear, because females are always right.
See, that's a good answer. That's why you were always meant to answer that question. Sue, I reckon you have the job that just about every kid wants. You're the president of the Koala Hospital.
Yeah. Chris, I'm very, very lucky. I think I've got the best job in the world.
Yeah.
I get to come in and care for these beautiful koalas regularly, but I also get to lead the organisation that's going to start breeding wild koalas and try and rebuild the wild koala population for Australia. And you know what an honour that is.
Now, I'm sure on a normal day, you find yourself wandering out here to see this guy.
Yes, I do.
Gula?
This is Gula. Yeah.
Is it true you rescued Gula?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm a rescuer.
Yeah.
And we rescued Gula during the fires. So he was found in Crowdy Bay National Park, and we went down to collect him, and he was 2 kilograms, a tiny little koala, absolutely beautiful, with a burn on his rump.
Yeah.
So we put him into home care for about 4 months, and then in April we brought him in here to go into the Joey pre-release yard to learn how to climb, and unfortunately we found out he had chlamydia, so he's being treated for that.
Now, chlamydia is something that we hear a lot about with koalas.
Other than natural disasters, chlamydia is the biggest killer of Australia's koalas right now, and we're trying to do a lot of work with some universities and other organisations to come up with something to treat it.
And Gula here, what's the future for him?
Gula's having treatment now for chlamydia. At the end of that time, we'll watch him for about another 3 weeks. He'll go into the Joey yard, we'll make sure he can climb, and he'll be released back to Crowdy Bay where we got him from.
How's that going to be for you that day?
It will be a wonderful day.
Yeah.
I'll feel like I've done my job. It will also be a sad day. I'm getting tears in my eyes
I can
already.
see, yeah.
I'm very attached to him, and I've got to, it will be a wonderful day.
So during the fires, the response wasn't just within Australia. Worldwide, people were touched by the plight of these guys. Were you surprised by that?
We were overwhelmed. We had donations coming in from every corner of the world, and it was just overwhelming.
Let's have a look back and see how it all played out.
Now, what's happening in Australia is unprecedented.
It looks to get worse before it gets better.
The Black Summer bushfires made news all around the world.
The terrifying scale of Australia's bushfire disaster is beginning to emerge,
putting Australia in their headlines for the saddest reasons.
Fires continue to put wildlife at risk in Australia.
Koalas have been terribly affected. 8,000 are estimated to have died.
In New York's Times Square, normally the place for bright and flashy ads for fashion brands, the huge electronic billboard was devoted entirely to thanking our Aussie firefighters, bravely battling the blaze. Amidst the headlines, one small koala hospital was gaining worldwide attention. You guessed it, the Port Macquarie Koala Hospital.
The response was fantastic. Tens of thousands of people wanting to help in any way they could, by making things, adopting koalas, donating money.
With images of our fires and injured koalas beamed worldwide, it seemed the entire world was watching.
People were writing to us, they were sending us emails and wanting to help in some way. NRMA Insurance approached us to see if they could do anything to help. What they did was run an ad saying that NRMA Insurance was supporting the Port Macquarie Koala Hospital through this difficult time.
Which is why we have partnered with Port Macquarie Koala Hospital to help koalas today and into the future.
And we were inundated with help from the community. So we set up a GoFundMe page with a goal of $25,000, which was to build wildlife water drinking stations.
And what followed was one of the biggest outpourings of love our country has ever seen.
We raised $7.8 million, which was just amazing.
Everybody just wanted to help.
And we couldn't have done that without NRMA Insurance's help and support.
Now it's almost time for that very exciting moment where Nabiak Austin, our rescued koala, is going to go back to the wild. But before that, this is Josh. Now, Josh, you rescued Nabiak Austin.
I did. I was very lucky, as well as he was.
Yeah.
On the highway.
Yeah.
I was looking for him, and he just happened to walk out at the right time.
Yeah.
This is the story of one of the luckiest koalas you'll ever meet. At the height of the fires, this young guy was found on a 4-lane highway around 100 kilometres south of Port Macquarie. His brave rescuer Josh did the unthinkable. He stopped the traffic, ran onto the road and, risking his own life, saved this injured, dehydrated and confused little koala. Josh brought him straight to the hospital for treatment. It was touch and go at first as staff attended to his burns. They named him Nabiak Austin. Nabiak from the area he was found, and Austin after Josh's son.
When Austin first came in, he was basically a dark brown, almost black in colour, and he smelt of fire. We treated him for burns, and then once his burns started healing, he developed the disease chlamydia.
A few months on, and Nabiak Austin defied the odds.
He was one that showed good signs of getting better because he had that fighting spirit.
His recovery was incredible. Twice daily, the volunteers gave him his formula and made sure he was fed the same type of eucalyptus specific to his own region.
The rate of recovery is remarkable.
Nabiak Austin, along with all the other remaining burns victims, had damp towels wrapped around branches to protect their bottoms, legs and arms, as their burnt fur and skin is very sensitive. This incredible little koala became the star of the show, with thousands of people adopting him from as far away as Africa and Canada. Today, Nabiak Austin finally gets to go home.
We always miss them when they leave here, but I get terribly excited when I know they're going home because they belong out there. They're a wild animal.
But not before one very special reunion.
Well, he's been on a massive journey. So would you like to...
I would love to.
Meet him again?
Yep.
Come on through.
Wow. He kind of looking at me the way he was looking at me when he was in the car, just keeping an eye on me.
Yeah.
But, oh, he looks fantastic. Such a credit to the staff up here that look after them.
Yeah. You must have been incredibly stressed that day when you first came across him.
He almost looked at me as if I'm ready for human help.
Has he ever been too far from your thoughts?
Well, he's named Austin, which is after my son, so I have 2 Austins now, and this is the other one.
He's here because you decided to make a difference that day and help him out, and you sensed his vulnerability and his need for help. So I'm sure he's incredibly grateful to you.
Thank you.
And it's a great thing you're actually here to see him go home.
It's a massive privilege, yeah.
Yeah. We do need to get him microchipped and ear tagged and get him ready for that exciting trip home.
And after 8 months, it is finally time for Nabiak Austin to head home.
Perfect. Look at the forks.
Yeah.
Couldn't be better.
Like 7 different options.
Ah, perfect. Okay.
Someone inside here must be starting to sniff.
I bet he is. He says, I can smell home.
You know what? Just seems right that Josh is here to release him, right?
Yep.
He saved his life in the first instance.
Yep.
Josh, come on in, mate.
Thank you.
This is your time.
Well, I guess it's our time, but...
Yeah, but you caught him, you release him.
Thank you.
So, now there's a plan.
So... You are, little man. Hello. Welcome back. Welcome back to the wild.
Just push him up a little higher.
Yep. Those arms. There we go. You got it, little man.
Oh no, he's got his own idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice climbing, little man. Look at that, your first view of freedom.
See you, dude.
Look a bit different?
Yeah. Little wink to you. Little thank you.
Oh, that is so cool.
Isn't it great? And doesn't he look at peace?
He does. And the way his fur's back and...
Yeah. You created this, mate. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck, Austin. The rest is up to you, mate. I reckon you got this.
See you, buddy.